So we just heard from Dr. Anup Kumar, who's now in the US, and he was supposed to join us online, but I see that there might have been some glitch that he's not here with us. It's a pity because it was such a wonderful, succinct presentation on connecting the physical and the metaphysical. But we'll then move on to the next session. It's the last session in this 2-day colloquium that we've been having. And I would now like to invite Dr. Jayakumar, HOD of Cardiovascular and Thoracic Surgery, Government Medical College, Kottayam, to please come and chair this session. So this will be a panel discussion. And we would also like to invite Shri M.G. to please come on the stage.
Pranam, sir. Good evening, everybody. So we had 2 days of extensive discussions and deliberations on yoga, and we had scientists across India, probably across the world, doctors, and then we have yoga practitioners, yoga teachers, and overall research presence made the difference. So I think now we are concluding the sessions. Basically, the entire concept of this colloquium was to see whether the science and yoga can go together and deliberate and bring out how we can come out with something so that for the world, for the future, what we can do from India or from our part to bring yoga as a science, as something which is going to be accepted by, adopted by people all around the world. So, sir, I would like to hear from you, sir, about how this yoga practice, because we say science says you have to people to adopt their need randomized controlled trials, then all these single blind, double blind trials, all those things. But yoga was there from the very beginning, adopted by many, and those who practice this knows what it is. So, is it important to have this scientific evidences, knowledge, or things put there to see that yoga is good, or say that yoga is good and yoga has to be practiced? How we can go about that?
First, let's define the word yoga in life science and beyond. I mean, this. First of all, namaskar to all. The word yoga mostly was applied today to yoga in its Ashtanga yoga form. But yoga has a much wider concept than that. In the Bhagavad Gita, every chapter is called a yoga. Starting with Arjuna Vishada Yoga, yoga of Arjuna's sorrow, till Sannyasa Yoga at the end, Bhakti Yoga in the middle, Abhyasa Yoga, 6th chapter, is what we are normally referring to here in yoga. So it's a much more wider concept. Now, we can't suddenly jump from here right up to there, because when you go there, what we are dealing with is something that's not tangible to the senses. And what we are looking for is something that is tangible to the senses. Then, because the physical scientist will not be satisfied with some evidence which is tangible to the senses. So we are trying to bring two fields together. There's a big gap between the two. So I was thinking that while it's a nice, good idea to start from here, later on we should have higher levels of existence, higher levels of research, which will take us to that which is the ultimate aim of yoga. Basically, yoga is yoga's chitta vritti nirodha. Yoga is the clearing of the mind of all its vrittis. It's what do you call that? It's disturbances, it's positive, negative, up and down, all these differences to go beyond the dualities. I mean, this is the... So for that, since ancient times, various techniques have been described. Now, since the scientists, the problem is When you say scientist, we are using it only as a definition for physical science. In physical science, you need 1 plus 1, 2. Or you need to get it in a test tube. Here are things which you can, even Dr. Anup, I think, who spoke before, is talking about physics which cannot be put in a test tube. Quantum is talking about the quantum energies. I deliberately am not using the word particle because nobody knows. Quantum energies, and they are linked to the human system. However, it's important to note that the physical body is intimately connected to this whole field, which in Sanskrit is called kshetra. Kshetra means a field. You call a temple also a kshetra. Kshetra, the meaning of kshetra is field, F-I-E-L-D. And we are a small part of that field. But then, you can surely demonstrate, especially in yoga, which is therapeutic and so on, that this is possible, changes can be made, so that people get interested in this subject. Saying it's not entirely a cock and bull stories, it is real. I was reading his professor, you gave me, Dr. Manjunath's little thing in his book, interesting. So, what we can try and create here, let's forget about that kshetra, that is, what we can create here is an interest and an understanding that through research, and that requires the help of medical people, scientists who are involved in consciousness research, which is like psychiatrists, and doctors who are involved in the inner organs of the body, neurologists, cardiologists. This is what we are having. It's interesting. It's wonderful. Now, we should start with the fact that there are analytical models available and that we should start working from there. And once they feel that, oh, there is some proof in this, people will go further and try to figure out things which are more than that. It's largely, just like Dr. Anup said, largely an electromagnetic field. This whole universe is an electromagnetic field. When you say Parashakti, it means undifferentiated frequencies. All other things in the world are nothing other than, this is what we believe. We believe, no, we know, but we can't say we know because people have proved it. So, and from there, when the frequencies change, they become many things. So what we are trying to do in yoga actually is to take all these differentiated frequencies and make them one and back to the source where the whole thing becomes one field. And interesting thing is, even that field has a center, but that center is not an individual center. Like Pythagoras said, the reality is a circle with its circumference, with its center everywhere and circumference nowhere. The meaning of saying Tattvamasi is that you are also a center, but the circumference is nowhere. You can't figure out what the circumference is. So it's a good step, it's a good start, especially bright minds, young minds should begin to look into this in a little more scientific, experimental manner. Fortunately for us, yoga has perfect mind exercises apart from physical exercises. Yoga, because yoga also deals with your endocrine system, which is responsible for our thinking, for our moods, for dopamine, for serotonin. It's responsible, the endocrine system. Yoga knows how to deal with this, how to increase one and decrease the other. All this can be done experimentally. And once we have succeeded in proving, then more people will come into it. I really doubt if among all the people who are working on it, while we can prove that there is a connection and so on, I think there will be half or a quarter person who are interested in moksha. So we won't go into that subject. But if we can live happily in this world, harnessing the findings that we do in these experiments, We have come a long way. And my suggestion is that all of you who are here in different capacities, and those who are not here, like students and professors, they should all come together and say, okay, let's march forward and look at it. If nothing else, to defend the ancient wisdom of this country, which sometimes people tend to make fun of and, oh, this is nonsense. So we need to change that mindset, and I think this is a first-class step, and I thank all we are also associates. It's done by so many organizations coming together, not just Satsang. But all these organizations should follow the Satsang principle, which is written in the Rig Vedas 2000 years ago. Sangachatvam, let us work together. Samvedatvam, let's study together. Sambho manam si janatam, put our minds put together, may we understand. With this attitude, if I request all of you, not request, I beg you all to get into this together and try to find something out of this. I immensely enjoyed all the sessions that I attended. I could not attend some, but due to other reasons. So, thank you very much for that. Now, over to Dr.
Thank you, sir. Actually, for I could attend only today, but still, once we're going through, yoga starts influencing the genomic expression to cellular level changes, or into the hormonal changes, then into the clinical scenario, into the mind and behavioral changes and all. So, but one of the major problems we face maybe as a scientist when you look at it, standardizing yoga practice. So that is one area where, like Dr. Manjunath was, I think, rightly saying, every part of yoga, even asanas, is also composes everything. So, what is sir's advice on standardization of yoga practices? And
so, start with Ashtanga Yoga, because it doesn't talk just about high philosophy. It doesn't touch Vedanta as much as many other approaches do. Ashtanga Yoga is a practical method of, in fact, Patanjali first deals with the picture of where you have to go before you go to sadhana. Because if you look at the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali, the first chapter is not sadhana pada. Sadhana pada is where you practice. The first is samadhi pada. So it's a good idea to study this concept called samadhi, theoretically at least, before we go into the practice. Now, when it comes to, although it's called Ashtanga Yoga, because actually it is Saptanga Yoga, because the eighth one is actually a culmination. It's not a practice. Yama, niyama, asana, pranayam, pratyahara, dharana, dhyana. Ashtanga means, samadhi is not actually an anga. But then, because it's 8 parts, it's been called an anga. Now, this whole thing of yama, niyama, asana, pranayama occurs in the second chapter, second pada of Patanjali. And it's interesting that Patanjali calls the practice kriya. Tapas, Swadhyaya, Ishvara Pranidhanani, Kriya Yoga. This is a sentence there. So this is, I'm not saying that the brand Kriya, not that. So it's Kriya means something which can be practiced. So you see, for a research, it is important that we have something to practice to produce results. So we should approach from that angle, because it also improves your health, improves your you have to follow the way of life, of course, to the best extent possible to get the best results possible. Understood. But then it's a nice place to start. I think, first of all, the International Yoga Day, which is being celebrated today, which has started due to the good work of some people. I don't want to mention anybody that it might become a political subject. But that should now expand into real yoga and the understanding of yoga in its deeper aspects and how it will help to You will be surprised. People belonging to other ways of thought and other philosophies are also practicing yoga, which is why I wrote the commentary on the Yoga Sutras and called it Yoga Also for the Godless. Yesterday I gifted a Malayalam copy to the Chief Minister. Now, I don't know about his state of being, but, and you won't believe it, that first time in the history of Kerala, 2,000 volunteers practiced yogasana for 1 hour in Kannur. You know that. It came in all the papers. And they did it well, which means they're slowly entering into. When you spend time in yoga, naturally you won't be sitting in a toddy shop, right? So, this is a good, in fact, somebody told me, आजकल आज तो लाल झंडे वालों को योगा सिखा रहे हैं. ठीक है, तो योगा तो सीख रहे हैं कोई. So, this practice should become more scientific, and contribution of scientists and doctors to this will be a big step, because if I say, it won't have that impact. If you say, you're a heart man, so they will say this is the heart of the matter. That not proper. So when a neurosurgeon talks about it, they say, well, he's a well-known surgeon, so he must be knowing something. I am an ignorance from that point of view, right? I have no qualifications. So I think it's a great step forward, and if you will all help and contribute to this, we can do a lot. We can do a great deal. The coming century, I believe, is a century for the full growth around the world of the great treasures which this country has to offer. Which is the actual meaning of saying Vishwaguru. Now, we haven't gone there, we are dreaming. So, thank you, Doctor. Thank you, everybody. I don't think, is there anything else, sir? I think Dr. Jayakumar will conclude the session.
Thank you, sir. But I think none of us will agree with your statement that you are not an authority. But if you are not the authority, who else is there, sir, for each and everything? You will not believe that. So definitely, thank you, sir. I think time is running away. So we will. Do we have? Yeah, we'll wind up. Sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. Can we stand up and say Om a few times so that we go back with a balanced mind? Can you chant with me? Start. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Thank you. Dhanyavad.
So we will now move on to the final session, which is the valedictory session. And I would request the following members to please come up on the stage and join us. Dr. Manjunath S, Dr. Chandrabhas Narayana, Director RJCB, Dr. Praveen Ramdas from Vigyan Bharati, and A. Jayakumar and Dr. Avinash Pandey, please. So each of our valedictory invitees will have about 2 minutes, and if possible lesser, to concisely wrap up their thoughts about this colloquium over the last 2 days. Thank you very much.
Adarniya Guruji, Sri M, or all the dignitaries on the dais. So I'll start with the same style, a kind of anecdote. So one of us was riding on a cycle, and he was overtaken by a over-speeding truck. The fellow who was riding the cycle, he was not alert. And he got perturbed and suddenly he fell out of that cycle and truck moved on. The fellow started crying. A passerby was passing through that place. He approached and asked, "Why are you crying?" He narrated the story. Then he said, "But you have not hurt, neither a scratch, nothing has happened to your cycle. Then why you are crying?" He said, "See, but on the truck it was written, Fir milenge. We'll meet again." And many of the speakers, they talked about addiction, they talked about the trauma in their early life. And many of the ailments is because we live in future. So one of my sisters, she was talking about the Ayurvedic healing part, giving a kind of emotional touch to a patient who is at the end, terminal end. That is enough. That is a kind of solace. And while speaking to her, one of us, we were also in tears because it is not only patient, entire family is suffering. And what we need, if a doctor trained with modern sort of things, if I say that, see, your days are counted and see, that is not going to help. There is a still hope. And for that, we have to work and we have to fight till end that some miracle may happen. You may call miracle, but it is not miracle, it is the way of healing and that helps. If I talk about yoga, Guruji has just given the Patanjali Sutra, which is having 4 adhyay. The first sutra says, Ath Yoga Anushasanam. That means let us talk about yoga and its Anushasan. That means he was talking something else and suddenly he started talking about Yoga Anushasanam. The first path is Samadhi part. So that means it is a cyclic process. And the research should also be cyclic in the sense that if we wait that enough evidences are generated and then we will have a sort of clinical trial and then we will generate good amount of statistics and then we will publish and then we will accept. Wait for that. This is not going to happen. You start with whatever evidence you have, follow the strict process of scientific inquiry, come out with your evidences with the caveat that this is with the small population size. And my friend, we are all incapacitated by the tools which you have in your hand. Shriyam was subjected to electroencephalogram by connecting the electrodes which was having silver contact. You were measuring millivolts. You don't have the tools by which you can measure voltages of a smaller like femtovolt. You don't have. But the quantum world, the quantum technologies, the quantum computers which are coming up, and India is also striving hard to get some of those gadgets made ready. We can improve upon this electroencephalogram. The way you look at the sky, you can only see those stars which are nearer to you, but you cannot see the deep sky. Likewise, you cannot get the signal which is coming from the deep brain. And that is only that will happen if you have modern technologies, improvised ways of looking at, and sorry to say, 80% of our equipment in medical is imported. We don't have our own MRI. I can say this because we started working in that direction and we came out with the first MRI for India, which is now being upscaled by industry, and you will very soon have this MRI, 1.5 Tesla. And once that capability is there, you can go for 1.5 Tesla and bigger magnetic fields and also functional MRI, which we talked about. So coming to last part of this interaction with you, IUCYS, Inter-University Center for Yogic Sciences, is set up from that perspective that all the important sophisticated instrumentation is made available at one place. the researchers across the country, yoga is inclusive. It does not care that which age group you belong, which belief system you belong. Everybody has got something as an offer from yogic sciences. The child will have a different prescription, the older one will have a different prescription, but everybody will have something from yoga. So yogic sciences, the center which is going to set up, will offer all these facilities at one place, and all the concerns which we were raising about the standardization, about finding the protocol, about Madam was talking about pelvic floor muscles. We have got many such bandhas, tribandh, by which we can control incontinence. Those protocols can be given, can be prescribed after a scientific study to the pregnant women. Likewise, the children who are special need, they can also be given, and that is what the ambitious plan of this particular center is. We should not land up with the fate of Ayurvedic medicine. You all know in Ayurvedic medicine, the students are qualified by passing an examination which was known as CPMT, then NEET. They studied a different kind of system. Suddenly, when they entered into medical college, Ayurvedic medical college, they got the study material in a different vernacular, and then they were not able to correlate what they studied in their 12th with the available thing which is being taught. Then they don't have any inpatient department, there is no pharmacopoeia, they don't have confidence that they are giving their own medicine to the patient and the patient is recovering, and because of that, these students, they started practicing allopathic medicine, sitting in the backdrop of a nursing home, trying to inject, trying to learn some small minor surgery. So that has happened to the Ayurvedic system, and the West is sitting there to kill you, to say that you are not following the scientific practices, and this novel pathy, which is much old, is at the, I should not say extinct, but definitely the way it would have, I will definitely say that those people who were expert at nadi will not find by simply gauging the nadi, telling that what you ate a few days ago and what is your status, which is otherwise not possible. So that should not happen with the yogic sciences. We should not get nipped in the bud. We should get all these things, and for that matter, I will try to tell you that Department of Health Research has come. ICMR health research means that it should not be limited only to ethical committee's approval for getting some in vivo experiment, then in vitro, and no clinical trials. So clinical trials are possible. ICMR has come out with a committee which is going to approve your proposals if it is even non-invasive processes. If you are conducting some kind of questionnaire, they are going to clear it, and that is headed by none other than the former DBT secretary. So the ecosystem is being put in place, infrastructure, and also the worst part which had looking down at our own ancient wisdom. So the inferiority complex what we had, integrative medicine we can definitely name something, but it will not prosper unless otherwise we have respect for each other and we work together, we complement each other, understand what is your shortcoming, what is my best practices, bring all these things together. Ultimately, our aim is to ameliorate the conditions of poor people, the people who are struggling with their disease. Whatever practice you adopt, the ultimate aim should be the society, the mankind, and that is what the purpose is. Thank you very much for this.
I now invite Dr. Manjunath to please come on stage.
Namaskar. I thank everybody and especially the organizers of this conference, though I am a part of that organization as well, partly. I would be looking at purely a scientific medical perspective, and And that's how I'd like to sum up. It's very nice to see so much different interaction here. But at the same time, I would like to make a couple of points very clear. I'm a purely allopathic background, but I have been doing research in yoga for almost 20 years now. And it is not me that is responsible, it's my institution that is responsible. And that is All India Institute of Medical Sciences, New Delhi. The idea that I am trying to say is that allopathy has never been against anybody. Science is just science, that's all. Medical science is also a science. None of the sciences are against anything else. What we are trying to look at is that can we generate something which everybody can understand? That's all. For none of us would buy a car without having tested it, isn't it? Or even for a single. And all our facilities right now we have is a product of science, that's all. Therefore, don't have an antipathy towards medical science, because I did hear many people saying that, are we going to fit into the paradigm of Western medicine? There is nothing called as Western medicine. Indian medicine, Western medicine, this is all a kind of, I can say, a narrow thinking. We cannot have that, because science doesn't have anything like that. Western, Eastern, they are all same. So why is yoga so much popular in the outside? Because it's not like that. Therefore, we should come out of that. Second thing is that science progresses by incremental additions. We have only a hypothesis. We don't prove anything because we know that there is no end to that. Newton's laws have been disproved by Einstein. Therefore, in that way, every science progresses, and medical science especially would be very happy to incorporate whatever that is in the best interests of patient, humankind. That's all we count. Therefore, none of the doctors, most of whom I have seen, we wouldn't say don't take this. We always say take the right treatment, along with that whatever you think is good for you, you take it. Therefore, we never say no, you shouldn't take it. Okay, that is how it could be inclusive, and that's why I am a part of this group as well. And that is because of AIIMS has established that kind of a culture in all of us. Most of the national institutions, including IIT right now I am working, they all have the same open mindset, and I'm very glad that the same open mindset is here and that I could be a part of this. For we would be happy in whatever way that we can help from my side or from our side to make this as a reality. For yoga I have been so-called practicing the yogasanas basically from my school days. I happen to be a part of the school which had yoga as a part of curriculum. Many of you may not be knowing that AIIMS is the first institute to introduce yoga in the medical curriculum since 1997. Many people think that it's not in the medical curriculum. No, it is in the medical curriculum, which means that it has been already being practiced. And what we want to, all of us want to say is that yes, it can be more on a scientific basis, scientific ground, so that, as Shriyam said, more people accept it. That's what we want, right? It is not that they should reject it. Therefore, we should be able to make people accept it. It is not to popularize it. It is to make use of that for the benefit and live a healthy, fruitful, happy life. Thank you very much.
I now invite Jayakumar ji to please come and deliver his valedictory speech.
Most respected Puja Guruji, Sri M Sir, my dear brothers and sisters. Actually, in the history of yoga as a part of curriculum and as a part of syllabus in the college and schools is a different story. I will tell you this, what has happened to yoga in India. When first Human Resources Development Ministry of HRD, first time, formed by the Government of India, and Arjun Singh was the first Minister of HRD. At that time, Sri Arjun Singh decided that yoga should be a part of the school curriculum and college. And he called all the education ministers of the country and conducted a meeting. And NCRT is coordinated that meeting. Dr. K. Gopalan was the NCRT director. He's from Kerala. So Arjun Singh chaired that session, 2 days session, and discussed about different aspects of the curriculum for the government schools and colleges, and decided that yoga should be included in the school syllabus. Here from Kerala, at that time, P.J. Joseph was the Minister for Education. He attended the meeting. I am telling not from the stories we heard. I have interacted with at that time the Education Minister P.J. Joseph, and then I have a detailed discussion with the Dr. K. Gopalan. What has happened to that meeting? After that meeting, I am telling the truth, facts. In the next day meeting, when it was decided and minutes also has been formed of the meeting, in that yoga is become the part of the syllabus of the entire school curriculum in the country. Then, Honorable Minister of Kerala, P.J. Joseph, stood up. He is still alive. So I am telling the names for this conviction and clarity to know that. And Sir is here. Sir can also clarify, because after hearing all the discussion, most of the discussions here, my mind has gone to that, what has happened on that day. Joseph has told that yoga is not mentioned in the Bible or in the Quran. So, in a secular country like India, how yoga can be included in the curriculum? Dr. K. Gopalan is not here, he is no more. He told that. It is a fact. Then decided that yoga should not be included in the curriculum of a secular nation like India. That is how yoga has not become the part of the curriculum. In all the 176 countries stood and told that yoga should be a part of the universe, part of the world. Then the World Yoga Day, International Yoga Day has come there. Then when the world accepted, 176 countries has agreed to conduct the International Yoga Day, and yoga should be propagated. Then we started celebrating in India. But all the 28 state ministers come and together and discuss about that yoga. We objected it. This is the history of yoga becoming part of it. When Sara started this International Yoga Research Foundation, and in a different phase, which after hearing the deliberations here, I have conducted hundreds of seminars and symposiums in my lifetime. I have attended more than 600, 700 in my last 3 decades. I never ever heard such a serious colloquium in my life. This is the first time I have. It is so seriously. Those who have come and presented here, including the Manjunath, in the inner heart, recesses of their heart, they have come with their entire clarity of yoga, how it has to be included across the country, how it can develop across the country, how it can be influenced the country, how it can cure the problems of the common people. Everything I'm hearing that. It is one of the very seriously, very deeply rooted, very much passionately present, those who attended and the audience also. Almost never ever I heard that from the beginning how many people have here. Almost 90% of the people are still sitting here to hear the valedictory address. Never ever has happened in any of the seminars. This is also our congratulations for the organizers and the divine presence of Sri M. Sir. Everything goes to his credit only. We all are working like like common people. We cannot say that. Sri M's aura is here, and we are moving like something like that. When we have chanted Sri M. Sir has chanted Om here. Have you remembered that? Because we also chanting Om. In my life, I chant Om every day. But when M has chanted the Om here, sir, so that's a different Om, which we have, the entire this hall has, reverberations are still happening here. So I think we have all dreams. We have dreams that this International Yoga Research Foundation should grow like that. The Vice Chancellor, Honorable Vice Chancellor, when our Mohan Kundumel, when he is going out, he is telling that, Jayakumar, no doubt, this research foundation is going to be the world-class research foundation of yoga. After hearing all these things, Mohan sir, he told me that, Dr. Mohan told that he starts some institutions for yoga research center, not only research center, some institutions to train them. My university will give all recognitions. Please start like that. So aspirations are more. So MSR has created something here which now nobody can go behind. We all have to take forward and make it a world-class research institution. I have gone through the site. How many? There are many institutions. Yoga institutes are there, Yoga Niketan are there, yoga consultants are there. Many yoga institutions in this country. Not we are the only one organization in the country, but nobody is now. I don't know. When they have started, they have great inspirations and great aspirations. Many things may be having, but now they are all in standstill, like only an exercise. Yoga as a part of exercise, it is there. Now, we have to go beyond that. I think many of the organizations, this institution itself has contributed a lot, and I have great thanks to Chandrabhas Narayana, the director, and Mohanji, who is the chief controller. They have taken this conference, this colloquium, as their own colloquium. They have not, they have gone, only 1 month before only we could say to them that we are going to conduct it, and we told that sir will be here for 2 days. Then they forgot everything. Okay, this is there, then we are with them. And whole institution is a part of this colloquium, and they spend a lot of money. They have not disturbed anything. They themselves have done everything for this conference like that. And we should give a great applause to Rajiv Gandhi Center for Biotechnology, one of the most pioneer institutions in which more than they have conducting post-graduation in biotechnology. This institution has conducted more than 1,000 scientists and technocrats are working in this institute. It's a great institute in Kerala. So that is their contribution also we cannot forget in time. And this seminar, this will be, this seminar and these presentations and sir's inaugural speech, it will be in our mind forever, and with that, give the energy, that energy will take this institution to the world-class institute in within 3 or 4 years. Thank you.
Now, last but not the least, I invite our director, Professor Chandrabhas Narayana.
Pranam Guruji. Good evening, everyone. I hope seeing the strength in the auditorium, I hope everyone is enjoying the deliberations. Thank you. Yeah, thumbs up from there. Thank you. When I first met Sri MG, it was in an airport lounge. He had just come here to look at the place in Akulam, and he was returning back after meeting the chief minister. And he was going to Bangalore and then going to Madanapalli. And we had a long conversation. I don't know, Guruji remembers, but we had a long conversation because it was right next to that our GCB campus was being built. Actually, it was in the primitive early stages of that campus when I met him. He had told that the price which the Kerala government was asking was too much, and I think he's negotiating and it will take some time for it to come up. And second visit was when I met him on, with an appointment in Madanapalli, when I went to his ashram and met him, and we were discussing. At that point of time, we discussed, can RGCB and this new International Yoga Research Foundation can come together to do scientific research. The third time we met was when the inauguration of that facility was done, and I was given the opportunity to light the lamp along with you. It was a privilege, and at that time we invited him to come to our campus because our campus has already been running at that point of time. And we had a long chat again in my office, and that is when this conceptualization started that we should do something in research on making it more evidence-based. Let me tell you that most of the research institutions have very good facilities. And what I'm going to say, I will apologize a priori if anybody is offended, but I would like to say certain things which, as an administrative head of an institution, I feel most of us have the facilities. We have the best talent in research. But unfortunately, areas which was alluded to by Avinash, Professor Avinash, that Ayurveda actually has got into a different area. Similarly, yoga should not go through the same process. The reason is that if we work in yoga, and I should tell you, the lectures I attended, most of the citations which were of high impact were from outside the country, sadly. I didn't find an evidence-based publication which is of a high reputed journal from within India. And this is not because people are not working in this area. Unfortunately, we are working in silos. We are working in, we are doing a small job. That is the reason. And my proposal to you, Guruji, because you have a much more international presence in the area of yoga, I request you to actually do something, and I have some funding agencies here and also the Vigyan Bharati head is also here. I'm making a proposal here. And this proposal is that any program needs money. Funding is a very, very important aspect. We cannot do it in charity. We cannot do that scientific institutions. Like yesterday, the discussion on the EEG was done. It was completely impromptu. It was not actually planned though I respect all the participants in that, it was like still being debated how to do this whole exercise. I know I was actually part and listening to the whole thing. But that's not the way we do the research. Data is very good. Excellent things have happened. Experts have been there. I respect all of them. They are the topmost people in this country who can do those kinds of things. But that data is a very minuscule amount, which probably we'll be scratching at the top. So what we need is a larger funding for this kind of an activity, where Kerala is the best place and Trivandrum is the best place. I actually say that because we have Sri Chitra, which has a clinical setup. We have RCC, which is again a clinically very, very excellent place. We have Rajiv Gandhi Center for Biotechnology, which is one of the topmost biotechnology institute with the great set of scientists available for doing research in this area. And we are lacking clinical support. We do not have clinical support, and that's why translation cannot happen so easily. These three institutions, and with the funding, I'm actually saying that this funding doesn't require equipments. We all have equipments. Actually, RGCB today is proud to say we have the whole omics facility. We have the best medical laboratory services which can actually look at your blood samples. Every day, every hour, we can actually do it. We have the manpower, we have everything. But that requires money to run the whole kind of such a facility. Consumables are quite expensive. The genomics, if I have to do, the consumables are very expensive. I can't do it free. So these are requires large fundings. And if we form a larger program with I have the director of RCC here. Director yesterday was there from Sri Chitra. I am there. And from the foundation, Sri M G is going to be there. We can actually come to a bigger program, larger program, and where we target first the easy part of it, not the directly tackling the larger part, but try to do the low-hanging fruits. One of that is wellness. Wellness is a very easy thing to do. One of the best thing about India is the statistics. We can actually you have seen 30 people, 40 people. We can actually increase that number to about 1,000 in control population, in yoga population, exercise population, thousands, and that immediately makes the biostatistics very good. This is possible, and from the foundation, if you can actually help us with the numbers, we could actually do these kinds of things much better. I would like that to be a thing to take it forward after this particular I completely vouch with what Jayakumar ji had mentioned, that this is a fantastic initiative and it wouldn't have happened. And I can bet on this, that on a Sunday having so many people wouldn't have been happened if Guruji was not here. Okay. I know the mindset of our people, that we want to get back home and get ready for Monday tomorrow. So that is the way we are. So with that kind of an initiative which has happened, if we can think about a larger problem and think about a funding. My only request is, if we want to do it in Trivandrum, with these institutions as the core, the only way we can do it is if 50% of the funding comes from private. And my advice, we had a discussion on this, if we can get a WHO funding, or we can get an international funding, this will be immediately possible and we can do it in a larger way. And for that, I would like to work with you to actually generate that kind of support from outside. And of course, from the health ministry and others, we can actually take help. We could actually do it. And that's my suggestion at the concluding part. And I thank all of you. And if everything has gone well, I will only say there were 2 people from RGCB, not me and not Mohan sir. It was Hari and Devasena, who are actually the reason everything went well. And of course, if you had a fantastic food, and if you liked the food and everything, it is Jayakrishnan and his team, which is actually the reason you had. It is cooked here, in-house, and Mohan sir actually is the Sutradhar always, and I would actually give him the credit for that. And thank you everyone.
Thank you, sir. So you can see that our director is always extremely generous. I think the head dictates the rest of the body, and we're just working in unison with him, following his instructions. So thank you, sir, for those kind words. So we'll now move to the last couple of bits, where we would like to now present mementos to all our guests present on the dais. And we would request Shri M.G. to do the honors for us in handing over the mementos to each one of our members. Yes. So, sir, you will come in front. So we request Dr. Avinash Pandey. No worries. No. Dr. Avinash Pandey to please come.
I should not get.
And next to Dr. Praveen Ramdas. And now to Jayakumar ji. Next to Dr. Manjunath. And finally, to our very own Professor Chandrabhas Narayana. You can't say no. You can give it back.
No, actually, as an organizer, I am not supposed to take it.
No, I'll take it back from you.
She will take it. Okay.
No, please take a seat. So now I invite Brindaji to give the vote of thanks.
Firstly, I would like to extend my gratitude to our beloved Master, Sri M, without whose vision and blessings this event, this colloquium wouldn't have happened. And I offer my humble pranams at his feet. Now I take this opportunity to thank all the eminent personalities, doctors, who have taken part on this colloquium and offered their knowledge in this platform and enlightened this audience. I also thank all the beautiful ladies and gentlemen who are present here, who have been here for this last 2 days and who have watched this program very keenly and patiently. And on behalf of Satsang Foundation and International Yoga Research Foundation, it's my pleasure to extend my gratitude to the always smiling Professor Chandrabhas Narayana, Director RGCB, Chief Controller S. Mohanan Nair, Chief Manager N. Jayakrishnan, Instrumentation Head K. Rajashekharan, Finance Officer Sadi Chandran, plus Administration, Instrumentation, Canteen, Security, Housekeeping Divisions of RGCP, and especially Dr. Harikumar and Dr. Devasena, who have given such immense support for this program. And I also thank Dr. Kavita Narayan for her support in this event. And everyone, thank you, thank you.